Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. Today, Keir Starmer, he hasn't got any balls. Not me saying that, not me being rude. This is what Kemi said, the leader of the opposition, yesterday. She's clearly got some. But she said this in Parliament yesterday, and it's caused a bit of a storm. So here we go. Kemi Badenoch stood up in Parliament and basically said, Keir Starmer, you've got no balls. Yep, she actually said it, and that was the language she used. So it's on the record. So no one can be offended by it because, some people who tried to be today said it was unparliamentary language. Listen, I'd rather our politician effed and blinded and actually told the truth than what we've got at the moment. And I think, and you'd know this anyway, that she's making a valid point about Keir Starmer. He decides everything by focus group or indeed by, waiting to see which way the wind's going. However, he's not the only one. And this is the real question, isn't it? It's not just Starmer. Has anyone in British politics got the guts to actually say something real and back it up and not care whether they're popular or not? I'm going to tell you later about when I wrote for The Sun and how we could almost, or I certainly could, almost dictate what that buffoon Alistair Campbell would do and Tony Blair. And the same with Cameron, that you could somehow, by saying the right thing in the most popular newspaper as it was at the time, influence them. I don't think it should be like that, but that's how it was. But have we got any politicians with conviction, with a spine? Are they all jellyfish? Have they all got the backbone of an amoeba? This is the Jon Gaunt Show, and I would love your views on this, please. We've got politicians, let's face it, dodging straight questions or straight answers, especially over this latest thing, the trans issue. Any issue that is slightly controversial, and they are all scared. Is it because of AI? Is it because of the 24-hour news media that everything can be amplified really quickly? I don't know. Let's discuss it today. Basically, leadership has become a PR gig, public relations. So today I'm asking you straight, who has got guts in British politics? And it's not just in the politics itself, it's also in the newspapers. You never see anyone getting a real slagging anymore in the newspapers. People have been very quiet and circumspect, talking about, for example, Keir Starmer's private life. I think we have an absolute right to know what our Prime Minister is up to, but obviously, because of the law and the rest of it, you've got to be careful. I think personally, Jim Davidson went too far the other week, which you'll notice I didn't jump in on. However, we have a right to know whether he's still with his wife or not. She had a face like a bag of spanners yesterday when she was doing that, not yesterday, Tuesday night, when she was doing the uncool Britannia night. So is there something wrong there? I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that politics used to be a real bun fight, and it isn't anymore. Why is that? Who's got guts in British politics and who's just coasting along? I think all of them. Ronnie Hurst is straight on tonight on Facebook. He says, I like Lee Anderson. He comes out with some brilliant one-liners. Yes, he does. And he's known for his straight talking. But here's the question. Is he right when he says those things? Look at the mess they've got themselves in about Rupert Lowe. I agree. I'm actually saying this now. I'd rather people were straight and frank. However, there are some things that need to be discussed behind closed doors. But it's a mess, isn't it? British politics at the moment is a mess. And I think it is tied in with AI, technical innovations, committees. If you meet any of these, I'll tell you what to do. Just watch GB News. I'm not going to slag it off, by the way, but they have ex-special advisor to David Blunkett, ex-special advisor to whoever, right? Labour, and Conservative people on? They're kids and they're ex-advisors, which means they're no longer doing it, but they're children. Most SPADs, as they're called, I said SPADs, are kids straight out of college, usually Oxford or Cambridge. What life experience have they got? Like Matthew Stadlen, right? He came straight out of private school, into Cambridge, out of Cambridge, and did political jobs, then political TV. How can he be a social commentator? He hasn't lived. He's barely started shaving. And that goes for some of the women as well. And we've got some massive issues at the moment, haven't we? The trans one is one. Whether we're going to go to war with Russia, that's a massive dilemma. And we need our politicians to be straight with us. Are you with me or against me? I just cannot believe this situation. So the first question is, do you agree with Kemi that Starmer hasn't got any guts or balls, as is the language that she used? And then answer the next question and give me suggestions. Does any politician have guts anymore? Here's another one. Can you actually become a politician? Will any major political party take you on if you do not fit their mold? I often used to joke they've got a factory somewhere where they turn out politicians. The Labour ones on this line, and on this track over here, the Conservatives. Because it's like that Harry Enfield sketch, isn't it? With the Labour guy and the Tory. They just come out with the same pat, trite answers. Then you've got Bridget Phillipson, who's the Education Secretary. I said in one of my shorts the other day, did you see that? She's so terse. She's so uptight all the time. She's like Cruella de Vil without the charm. And she is petrified. She's the rabbit, to use a cliche, in the headlights. Keir Starmer on the trans issue the other day, after saying before women can have a penis, right, and now being proved wrong by the Supreme Court, he dodged and ducked and dived. He went away for 5 days, hoping that the whole controversy would blow over. Fat chance. He's come back and he's given a mealy-mouthed answer. I don't believe that he believes that. I believe that he believes that men can be women. I don't. I agree with the court. What's your view? So why aren't people being straight with us? No spin, no sugarcoating. I thought about this for some time today about whether I should even put the word balls in the headline, because I don't want YouTube to get upset, but I don't think they will, because it was said in Parliament. It was on the record. Are you going to comment tonight? Don't just sit on your hands. Get involved. Do you think British politics is lacking balls? Do you think it's lacking people with a spine, people who are willing to speak their mind? And would we be better off if we knew exactly where our politicians stand? I'm just waiting for somebody to say Nigel Farage. Well, that's not true, because sometimes when it comes to the big issues, like a lot of people who have fallen out with him recently over the Rupert Lowe affair, they say he should talk about deportation. I don't agree with them personally. I agree with his standpoint. However, he doesn't, does he? He's dodged it. He's dodged it also about Tommy Robinson. He's trying not to talk about it. But wouldn't it be better if he did and we had an open and frank discussion? I'm not having a go at Farage. I'm just saying it's something. I don't know if it's the politics, the politicians, the political parties, or whether it's social media. You know, the whole way we live now. Everything is at you all the time. But I don't want political blandness. And being on the verge of World War III, I don't think we should be bland in our politics. There has to be tussle. There has to be argument. The trans issue was a massive argument, is a massive argument. It hasn't gone away. If we go to war with Russia, it'll be huge. Even things like banning mobile phones or, you know, what do they call them? Laptops in schools. It's not an easy issue. It's not black and white, is it? So why don't our politicians lift their head above the parapet? They get 90 odd grand a year to do it, plus all the expenses they can shake a stick at. Where's the backbone? Because Kemi, everybody thought she was being useless at Prime Minister's questions. But yesterday she came into her own. And when she said about him not having balls, I bet you there was a collective cheer going up across the nation. When you saw that on the 10 o'clock news last night, or the 6 o'clock, or at lunchtime, didn't you think, good on you, girl, get in there, yeah? And Starmer didn't know what to say. He was completely on his back heels. But that's what it should be like. I also used to say this when they said, oh, Prime Minister's questions is too adversarial. It's too much like a pantomime. We should make it more polite. No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't. They're discussing massive issues that need to be sometimes a bit heated. Are you with me or against me? This is the Jon Gaunt podcast. Tonight, asking the question, was Kemi Badenoch correct to ask that question in Parliament? Has Starmer got balls? And then I'm developing that out saying, has any politician? Why is our politics so bland, so vanilla, when there's such major issues like the don't stop, please stop oil? That's a massive thing. The whole green agenda is a massive issue. This country, and indeed the world, is facing some huge issues at the moment. It's not the time for everyone to be like in a gentleman's club and polite. What do they call it in boxing? The Kingsbury rules? No. The gloves have got to come off on both sides. In fact, on all these sides. And when it comes to Keir Starmer, why does he keep dodging the bold move? Why did he have to wait to hear what the judge said about women? Why couldn't he just say, no, my belief is this. I think you can be a woman, even if you've got a penis. If you were born a man, that's what I believe. I believe in equality. There are plenty I had a big discussion about this yesterday with my daughter, my eldest daughter, and my sister-in-law, who's a doctor. I'm not going to say what they said, but it was like, oh, man alive, proper, sparky, like it should be in the Commons. There are some issues where you do get wound up. Immigration is another one. Why won't they touch immigration? They're petrified to talk about immigration in case somebody calls them a waifit, which is just nonsense, isn't it? They're our MPs. We want them to discuss the issues that we're talking about in the pub. Well, if there are any pubs left open. Well, we want to talk about that as well. Hospitality, the cost of living. Politics at the moment, I put this in my intro tonight, it's feeling more like theatre than leadership lately. So who is faking it? Who's the biggest faker? And who actually stands for something? So using the term no balls, it's brutal. Of course it is. But it's kind of fair, isn't it? What's your view? Is anyone in Westminster actually brave enough to do something unpopular but correct? I guess you'd say Maggie Thatcher. She went into the Falklands. She didn't give a toss. Whereas Keir Starmer today, he's seeing useless Van Leyen, whatever her name is, right? Because he's trying to get back in the EU through the back door. He loves going through the back door because he likes lying to us. Oh, yeah, we're never going back in. Brexit's done, blah, blah, blah. Even though I'm a reformer, I stand by the British public. No, you don't, you liar. You're an absolute liar. Liar. Your pants are on fire, right? Same with Ed Miliband. He knows he's going to bankrupt the country, going green. The only thing greener than his policies is his naivety. Why aren't people honest? And it's like the black hole. They knew there was a deficit. They knew the Tories had been spending money like it was going out of fashion. It couldn't have come as a total surprise, the 24 billion black hole. And also, why aren't they being straight and saying what that black hole is made up of? I'll tell you why. Because they're lying. They're BSing. It's what they miss out in a sentence, which is more important to them. All their little spads will be round them. Oh, you shouldn't have said this. You shouldn't say that on breakfast TV. Meanwhile, the journalists are all trying to play gotcha. It's all pretty pathetic. And then the big issues aren't getting debated. They need to get debated correctly. That's what I want to say to you. Has anyone got the guts in British politics today to stir things up? Kemi has obviously done something yesterday. I don't know whether it was designed, but she's thrown in a bit of a bomb, hasn't she? But Keir Starmer, what's he doing? Going to hope he'll return to calmer waters. He couldn't answer her yesterday because he's got about 5 answers. Like I keep telling you, he's like an action man with the voice activated thing, but there's only 5 things he can say. Yeah. And so then he runs out of them, and then the rest of them repeat it. This is why they've been making these videos rather than appearing on the TV, because they think they can control the narrative. But they're so out of touch. I keep saying this. He's got the Midas touch in reverse. He's the worst prime minister we've ever had. He's even worse than Liz Truss, and she only lasted the life of a lettuce. It's pathetic. But I'm not just having a go at him. You've always got to listen to them and work out what are they missing out. Why is UK politics in 2025 like this? Who has got political courage? Who or what politician has a backbone? Where is the bold leadership? When Tony Blair promised us a new Britain and he had his cool Britannia, at least in the first term of his parliament, of his premiership, he did that, didn't he? You might not like him, but he did change things. Mrs. Thatcher, the same. We became the property-owning democracy. That's what happened. And anyone messed with us, she dealt with it, mainly to save her political neck. But when she went into the Falklands, she wasn't effing about. Imagine Keir Starmer. Well, he has. He just gave away an island with one of our most important military bases on it, and he's now paying the rent on it. I don't get that. We're paying him a load of compo, and Mauritius is nowhere near it. How is that defending Britain? Look at the illegal immigrants coming in across the channel. Not just Starmer, but Rishi Sunak before him, Boris Johnson. None of them could get on top of it. I've told you how to solve that. You move them all out of the hotels immediately so you don't give the impression it's the land of milk and honey. You put them in military tents or military accommodation. You look after them. The ones who are already here. You get a load of graduates to learn how to be immigration lawyers, and you pass them through the courts as quickly as possible. If they can stay or they've got a skill that we need, fair dues. If not, Stelios, chucks away, or it'll be Captain Pugwash on the lifeboat. Take these guys back to Dover. And I don't give a fig what the French are going to say. Because who's also got the balls to say, we're going to leave Europe? Definitely now. We're not going to mess about. We're not having a hokey cokey. You put your left leg in, your right left out, in, out, shake it all about, which is, I'm talking about Europe, which is what Keir Starmer's doing. He's shaking it all about like a madman on speed. Why is he seeing her today? He's seeing her today because he wants to go back in. It's madness. We need bold leadership. We need proper British parliamentary debate. So my final question, is Starmer weak or is he playing a clever game here? Some people say he is. Some people say he hates Britain and he's deliberately dismantling it, which is some of the accusations people used to make against Tony Blair when he was rubbing our noses in diversity. But this is the Westminster drama. This is classic. Absolutely classic. And what are we doing? We're watching Westminster whilst the country burns. None of them seem to have a backbone. Let's take some comments and then I'll carry on with my diatribe. I find it amazing. And I will just say one thing again. One swallow doesn't make a summer. You bet you wonder what I'm going to say next, are you? But Kemi, that was one good performance. Now you've got to press the advantage. Don't be like Coventry City, one great game, and then play like a bunch of idiots, right? Press. We want proper parliamentary debate, but on a Wednesday, in Prime Minister's questions, I want it to be almost a fist fight. I don't know about you. And all these namby-pamby, Oxbridge-educated kids who run the media and also run politics, I want them out of the way. I want proper debate. And that will mean you fall out. I don't know whether I ever told you. I'll come into your comments in a minute. When I first went to London, I interviewed Ken Livingstone and who the Conservatives, Shagger Norris, Steve Norris. They were going at it hammer and tongs. And I thought, I've made it. I'm in London. It's only a local station, but it feels like a national one. We're talking about massive issues, the congestion charge, etc., etc. Ken Livingstone was laying in to Norris and then vice versa. It was great. There was blood all over the studio walls, metaphorically speaking. Then when we ended, I put the jingle in or the trail for somebody else, and they turned around. I can't remember which one it was. One said to the other, "Are you going back to the house? Yeah. Do you fancy going for lunch first? I know this nice little Italian place around the back." And they were mates. And then the other one said, "Yeah, let's share a cab." It was theatre. It was pantomime. It was a tragedy. Well, it was worse than that. It was tragedy comedy. And in all my experience of being right at the top of commentary and in terms of politics and talking about politics, British politics on the radio, whether it was on BBC London, whether it was on Talk Sport, the bottom line is they're all playing a game and they're all playing you. Now, if you can point me to somebody or an instance where that's not happening, I want to hear it, please. Going to war with Russia. Who wants to fight for this government? I'm an ex-squaddy. I wouldn't even help two-tier cross the road. You mean Keir? Yeah, fair enough. Nigel Gordon says, Lord Ali will tell you. Tell me what? Oh, I see. Yes, careful. He hasn't any balls. He's Tran, says Jenny McLean. No, he's not. Evidently, he's a raving heterosexual, is what I'm being told. He's a bit of a... Well, shut up, John. Nigel Gordon, we're not racist. We do not want immigrants. And as a country, we're too small for 70-odd million. No, Nigel, well, you are a racist. You sound like an idiot. Well, of course we want immigrants. Any nation needs immigrants. And also, especially as we've got a fall in birth rate. Do you understand how that works? The indigenous population, whether they're white or black, and I use my terms correctly, we're not breeding quickly enough. So there won't be people to pay the pensions and all the rest of it. So we do need to bring some people in. Some of them need to be highly skilled if we want to compete in the new world. Some of them need to be manual workers. What we need to do, though, Nigel, and this is where you go wrong every time when you talk about this, it needs to be well-controlled, managed immigration, like Australia, a point system, like Farage said he wanted. But I haven't heard that recently. But I also haven't heard from Reform, even though I'm backing them, really, because they're the best of the worst bunch. What's their policies? Where's their backbone? What are they going to do? Yeah? And then people like UKIP, oh, we're going to deport everyone. What's that other idiot? Ben Habib. They're not going to be in power, so it won't make any difference. You can say what you want if you're not going to get in power. Like the Lib Dem guy. He wants to get an alliance of the willing and take on Russia. That's a good idea. Not. So where are we next? Let me get somebody else up to speak to us. So if you want to comment, please let me have your views. Dead simple. Just go to the comment thing and type in what you want to say. Can I also remind you, we had a cracking show last night. The figures were out of this world. Thank you. We're getting there. It's slow, but we're getting there. We need more people to know about the show. So the best thing you can do to help me is simply tell all your friends. Put it on social media, retweet it, reshare it on Facebook. Either the live shows, like last night's show was a cracking show. And like today, other people will be talking about Kemi, but it'll just be about Kemi. I'm trying to join up the dots and say she might be right about Starmer, but that's an easy goal. That's route one, isn't it? That's playing like the old Wimbledon or Millwall. What we actually want to get to is why are they all like this? As you know, I call them self-serving pigs. So Starmer, his strategy just seems, I'll just stay vague. I'll avoid any controversy. But that's not being smart, is it? That's weak. That is absolutely weak. Because there comes a point where everyone says he never answers a question. When you compare him to previous leaders of this great country of ours, Great Britain, right? Whether it's Maggie Thatcher, and I'm going to include Tony Blair, Winston Churchill, they made decisions. They didn't have to have a committee. They didn't go to the law lords and said, what do you think? They just got on with it and hanged the consequences. That's what leadership is about. Leadership is about talking to everybody, getting a view, and then in the end, making the decision, which is usually one person. You can't run a country by committee. I know we've got a cabinet, but that's all BS, isn't it? In the end, it's one man or one woman and their vision of what they're going to do. And I think the unfortunate thing with Keir Starmer is he hasn't got a plan. You know, like the pirates or the baddies in the pantomime. Plan A is, and plan B, 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 and this is plan C. Right? He hasn't even got a plan A. He's got no idea. He's got this concept of equality, or whatever it is, or diversity, right? But he doesn't know how he's going to bring it around. And then he's scared to talk about it. Look, if you believe in diversity completely, tell us. If you believe that a man can be a woman, even if he hasn't had his bits taken off, tell us. We can have the discussion. We might not like you for it, but let's hear your view. It's like the classic was Lammy and the rest of them, Mandelson, all calling Trump a member of the KKK. And then he suddenly gets into, well, two things here. One, they weren't bright enough to realize he was probably going to get elected again. I could see that. Why couldn't they? And two, they shouldn't have said it in the first place, even if they believed it, because it was ridiculous. Because how then do you operate with the most powerful man in the world? We are being run by clowns, politically correct clowns. And Kemi, how much did you do? Look, there she is. How much? I like the line, no balls. How much did you do when you were in power? I know you're saying you did bring it up. I'll tell you the big one. I mustn't forget it. The Muslim rape gangs. Why has it taken so long to even get to this stage? Why does everyone still pussyfoot around it? Why won't Starmer give us a full public inquiry? Why didn't the Conservatives do that? So you can't just say it's all Starmer, even though Kemi says that now she will give that full inquiry. What about the victims, the survivors? I want bold leadership. And I just want someone who doesn't scare the markets. I mean, Trump is a classic example. I'm a big supporter of him, as you know. But maybe he got it wrong. And I'm going to be willing to call him out for it. When he's trying to get them all to pay their equal share. Well, he's got some of it right, because they've all increased their defence budget. But I don't put the blame totally on him. It's on Europe. We've been taking the Michael. And then we have the coalition of the useless, and we somehow think we've got a say. We haven't. As I keep saying, my nephew has got more ships in his bathtub than the Royal Navy. We're pathetic on that level. And we're pathetic not because of our boys, just like the police. The police are pathetic, not because they're hardworking guys and girls on the front line, the thin blue line, the ever decreasing blue line, or indeed with our army. It's the bloody leadership. They've all signed up to the Rainbow Laces view of the world. You know what I'm talking about. That's why this trans debate is so divided. The papers don't know what to do. I've been in the media for so long. I read this report about Channel 4 where they signed a contract saying they were going to be trans-friendly in their coverage. What's that about? How many times have I got to tell you? The relationship between a journalist and a broadcaster and a politician or any pressure group should be that of a dog and a lamppost. Our job is to pee all over them if we think they're wrong. Why don't people understand that? Why have we got client journalism? It's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You must be thinking what I'm talking about is good tonight. Got loads of people watching. Nobody wants to comment. What's up with you? Come on. I've only got another 5 minutes. I want your views. So would any of these other people be better? Rishi Sunak, Penny Mordaunt, Nigel Farage. I think he speaks his mind more than most. Caroline Lucas. Who does speak their mind and who's playing it safe? George Galloway. I don't agree with most of what he says, but you knew where he stood. And I remember Parliament when it was full of people like Galloway, Keith Joseph on the Tory benches, the Beast of Bolsover, Dennis Skinner. Passionate people, believed in their politics. Now everybody's in it for a career. I don't blame them. £92,000 going up, wages, all the expenses you can shake a stick at, even 900 quid to put your dog in a kennel. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The expenses scandal hasn't gone away. They're still at the trough with their snouts in it, aren't they? And being bold, let me just tell you something else. It just doesn't mean being loud. It means standing for something, even if it's not popular. Like the first woman who resigned over the Muslim Pakistani raping gangs all those years ago, and she was a Tory. Her. That's what it's about. It's about standing up and being counted. And like the woman who's just been thrown out recently of Labour because she didn't agree with the trans ideology. Did you see her? She was in Parliament yesterday when Starmer was avoiding the question. She had a face. If she'd been allowed, and here's the other thing, she wasn't allowed to ask a question yesterday by the Speaker. It's pantomime. It's theatre. It's all made up. We need honest, real politicians. We've got a lot of talkers in Parliament, but not many doers. Are you with me or against me? So, Kemi, a lot of people are saying that was unparliamentary language and it was merely a jab and it was an insult. No, it wasn't. I hope it's part of a strategy going forward now, Kemi, where you are going to show you've got bigger balls than Keir Starmer. Just like Maggie Thatcher, she had bigger balls than anybody in her cabinet. It's a fact. Balls is a metaphor for strength and the rest of it, yeah? What's that other word they use? The cajonas, right? Let's use that word if you want. So I'm finishing up now, but you can send me emails, you can get on Twitter, you can get on Facebook. Who do you think actually has guts in politics? Is there anyone? Or is it the case that once you get elected, people keep saying to me, why aren't you standing for reform? I did apply once to get in UKIP, to be honest, as an MP. And in the end, they said no. Farage was against it. He was all in favour of me getting in. He said, oh, no, but the committee's decided. And they said, oh, your political experience, knowledge isn't quite up to scratch. I'd been on national radio. I'd been writing for national newspapers and all the rest of it. They just decided, I don't know who, that my face didn't fit. And that's where politics goes wrong. Everybody is a carbon copy of the leader. And let's face it, at the moment, in my personal opinion, we haven't got a leader. We've got Keir Starmer. Everybody is just trying to keep their job, rather than doing a job. Do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? That was a massive bombshell that she set off yesterday. I hope she carries on with it, but I also will hold her to account. Is she going to concentrate on getting things done? That's what's missing in politics. The idea. I mean, next week is it next week the local elections? It's going to be a farce, an absolute farce. The Birmingham bin strike is still going on. 7 or 8 weeks. The cliche that rats are as big as cats is true. Ben says, I wasn't his biggest fan, but Tony Benn had balls. He did. You're right. He knew where you stood with him. Arthur Scargill. I'm not Arthur Scargill's fan, but at least he stood his ground. I would say for too long in the miners' strike. But then so did Mrs. Thatcher. They were like belligerent bulls, weren't they? But at least you knew whose side they were on. Now it's just a career option. But we live in dangerous times. Like I say, Russia, Ukraine, what might happen in China? We could go to war with China, Taiwan, the trade wars, America, Trump. All these things are going to be dealt with. Conscription, they're not going to be able to bring back conscription because no one will allow themselves. They'd have to have press gangs again, wouldn't they? Because no one believes in anything. No one believes in the country or the vision, because there isn't a vision from Starmer. There wasn't one from Rishi either. And the boats thing sums it up. Rishi, one of them was, he was stop the boats. Starmer is smash the avocado or smash the gangs, whatever it is. It just doesn't happen. It's pathetic. It's like the foreign criminals. They won't send them back. They won't deport people who shouldn't be here. They won't put people into tents. They'll keep them in hotels with their squeezy soap because they want us to get wound up about it. It's as if we're the enemy. Sometimes is how I feel. So I'm not 100% on Kemi's side here, but it was good to see a bit of spark, a bit of aggro. That's what we want. Steve, evening, John. No politicians in this country has the balls to stand up for our country. The only man to have any balls is Donald Trump. Have a good week, John. All Leeds fans now, aren't we? No. I can keep saying to you, congratulations. Of course, we've got Luton on Saturday. I'm not going to, but I'm going to be watching it on somebody who's got one of those. Shouldn't talk about it. You're not allowed to do that. It's verboten. I'll probably get arrested for watching football at somebody's gaff because you can only watch it if it's on Sky. Ben says, in your words, John, he's got the backbone of a blancmange. That's very unfair saying that about blancmanges when you're talking about Keir Starmer. Outrageous behaviour. Don't forget, if you want to help me out, this is the last show of the week. I did today have a look at one of my old podcasts, which was about, well, the title was about shopping and cancelling those, getting rid of those tills. You know, the self-serve tills where you still pay for your shopping, but you have to do all the work. I want to get rid of them because I think they're wrecking our country. It's another aspect. When I put that on Twitter a few months ago, I got 3 million reaction. And I put the podcast out and it kind of disappeared. So I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put that up again. It's a good one. And people keep asking me, what was your illness about? Where have you been all these years? So I've been dusting that one down as well. I'm going to put that up. So there's going to be stuff that you might not have heard that you might want to. So keep an eye on that. Best way to keep in touch with what I'm doing is to not become a member. You can be if you want. You can just join my YouTube page, Jon Gaunt TV. It's free. And then you get all the warnings of what I'm doing. You can then also see all my work, the videos, the live shows. You get advance warning when a new podcast is coming out and all the rest of it, right? Then if you like it, you can become a member, which I think is 99p. And if you really like it, you can become a super fan. And then if you really, really, really like it, you can also give a donation. And of course, if you want to help me, you can do buy me a coffee, which all these people down here have been doing. People like Lee Shanley, Phil H, P. Shaven, Drella, Big J, Mick, Graham, Tony. There's loads. Tony Monday, loads of them. So on Tuesday, I'll read out a load more of those names. I've got a load more I've got to put up. But Andy George, yeah, there we are. Thank you very much indeed for supporting me. Every penny helps to keep me going. So there'll be those two over the weekend. One's already there about the tills. The other one about how I nearly died. I'm going to put that up tomorrow, I think. And I might do a podcast over the weekend, or I might not, because and then I'm off to Roses. I'm dog sitting again from when am I going there? Monday, I think. No, Tuesday. I can't remember. So the show will be coming from deepest, darkest Oxford, but it'll still be the same as it is now. So I hope you can join in next week. It's been going well at 6:30. If you like it, tell your mates. If you don't like it, tell your mates as well. It all helps. And thank you for helping me get back on my feet. I can't tell you what you've done. It's not just the financial donations. It's the support as well and the retweeting and all the rest of it. But you've been a bit quiet tonight. Good viewing figures, but a bit quiet. Anyway, I'll see you definitely on Monday, 6:30, same place, same time. But you'll get a couple of things over the weekend as well as bonuses. Thanks. Really, I mean it so sincerely. I sound like Hubert Green. But thanks very much indeed. And have a think about what I'm saying, because I don't think any of our politicians have got balls. Enjoyed it. See you on Monday. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.